Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. As you can see from the title, we are today talking about the Rolex Explorer, and unfortunately the time with this watch has come to an end. Now before I let go of this watch, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the pros and cons. I've owned this watch for well over a year now and have worn it quite a bit, so I can pretty much tell you everything you need to know about this watch. If you've been considering buying it, feel free to ask me anything, because I have had enough time with this watch to be able to give you guys a proper, concise answer on whether the watch is right for you or not. Now throughout this video, I'm obviously gonna go ahead and state down a lot of pros about this watch because I absolutely love it, I adore it, and I'm gonna get a ton of comments and emails saying, well, if it's so perfect and you love it so much, why are you selling it? And to that I have two things to say. One, I have put a down payment on a new watch that hopefully will be here in about 1 or 2 months, and that should replace the Explorer for me. At least I think so. And then number two is that for me to continue adding content to this channel, I have to continue getting new watches or being able to handle new watches so I can give you guys proper advice on them. To be honest, with the amount of watches that I've purchased throughout this year, the capital is definitely tied up, and so it's time for me to start replacing watches and continue moving the inventory, because that way, if you guys ask me a question about, let's say a Sky Dweller, it's hard for me to give you guys an answer on a Sky Dweller because I've never handled one. I don't own one. I have never been able to fully use it and wear it for a week or so. So for me to be able to continue giving you guys concise advice on watches, I get a ton of emails all the time, messages saying, hey Vinny, should I buy this watch or should I buy this watch? I have this in my collection. Well, unfortunately, it's hard for me to give you guys that kind of advice if I have the same collection and the same watches all the time. So with that being said, the Explorer is officially going to be leaving the fleet, and I'm going to be offering this for sale to my Patreon members first. So if you are a member in the Patreon group, you already got an email this morning with me offering this watch to you. That's just my way of giving my viewers a safe way to purchase watches that are coming directly from me. They're watches that I've worn and owned. So yeah, that's the best way for me to do it and give back to you guys who've been wanting to wear this watch or own this watch. Yeah, so if you're not in that group already, link in the description. And with that being said, let's go and jump into this video. The pros and cons about the Rolex Explorer, and is it the right watch for you? Now, before we jump in, I want to make sure you guys know that this is not going to be a full in-depth review of this watch. I've already done one of those videos, and if you're interested in that, if this is your first time viewing this watch and first time viewing this channel, there's going to be a little pop-up on the right side of the screen here that'll link you to the full review of this watch. For now, we're going to go ahead and talk about the pros and cons and my experience with this watch over the past year. Here's the watch in its entirety. One thing about Rolex is they don't have this anti-reflective coating, so with the glare from the window to my right, every once in a while, looks just like that. Other than that, this watch has held up fairly well. Look at the wear on this after a whole year. It doesn't look like much. There are some fine scratches all over it, but again, with the stainless steel in the camera, you really can't tell. These Rolex models are just almost bulletproof. I have put this watch through a little bit. I have worn it golfing a couple times. But yeah, overall, this thing has just held up and continues to do so. Absolutely no issues with this piece, which I really hope that the piece that's replacing this is going to be like this, and I love it as much as I love this watch. Some of the specs for this watch: this is a 39mm piece, and actually I do believe this watch is going to be updated in the coming 2021 release. There's a lot of talks about the power reserve and the movement in this watch being updated, as well as the Explorer 2 having its 50th anniversary. So I do expect something for this watch. The values on this piece have gone up considerably. When I bought it last year, or about, yeah, 2019, late 2019, these were selling maybe just at retail after tax if you were to wear it. Now it's about $600, $700, $800 more, sometimes about $8,000 for a used version of this, which is pretty crazy. And I mean, again, I absolutely love this watch. There's nothing wrong with it. The only con I could ever think about this piece is that, you know, if you really hold it up next to some of the other watches in the collection, it can be quite boring, but I think that's also why it has so much charm. You can really dress it up, you can really dress it down. The double clasp here, so that way it's nicely secured. And I just love the way it sits on the wrist. Look at how much of a slim profile it is. I sometimes wear this watch with a suit, and what's really nice about it is because it's such a slim profile, your sleeve can go right over it. So if you want to hide your watch a little bit, sometimes you can do that, but also easily tucks right underneath. Such a great looking piece. But nonetheless, all good things must come to an end. And I really hope that the watch replacing this is going to be just as awesome, and it gives me as much joy as this watch has had given me. And who knows, we could be making a huge mistake by getting rid of this watch and selling it. But the reality is that me owning it and having a chance to wear it for the past year has given me a good idea on what I really like and what I should be looking for moving forward if I want to hold pieces long term. This is a great watch to hold long term. It's more of a safe play. I would say it's not like a Pepsi, clearly not like a Batman or anything like a Hulk, which stands out, which does have its charm, but also, you know, once you have some of the pieces in the collection, you might not wear this watch as often because it can be, again, quite boring. But as a beginner's watch and a long-term piece, you know, a safe play, great watch, great investment in my half as well. I think that these watches are going to continue to rise. For the price tag that it is fairly low for a Rolex compared to a Submariner. So I still think this has some room to grow as far as Rolex retail prices going up, and most definitely the secondary market for these watches are going up. One of the biggest features about these sport model Rolexes, which I've really enjoyed, is this 5mm easy link adjustment, which pops out just like that. You're wearing this watch on a hot day, let's say you wear it to a vineyard and you're wine tasting, something like that, and it's really hot outside, and you notice your wrist swells up just a little bit. Well, pop it out, you got 5mm extra, and you would be surprised. I've actually used this feature a couple times. It really actually does come in handy. So cheers to Rolex on that. The Rolex Sport models and the 5mm easy link adjustment. I'm glad this watch has this capability. Now, with all that being said, I hope it gives you a little bit more insight on whether this watch is the perfect fit for you. Again, I am selling my personal watch, so if you are interested, make sure you send me an email. Also, if you have any other questions, leave them in the comment below or just simply send me an email. Now, I hope this video was informative for you. If it was, make sure you leave a like button. It helps me tremendously. It boosts the popularity of this video up on YouTube so more people can view it. Also, make sure you subscribe because I did say I am replacing this watch, and occasionally I buy watches here and there. So whenever I do, I make sure I upload them, upload an unboxing and so on and so forth. So if you're interested in stuff like that, make sure you subscribe so you're up to date with my content. And lastly, before you guys leave, make sure you take a look at the links in the description below. The first link is a link to the Patreon group where you can join. Again, as little as $1 a month, you can join the group, and it will give you guys access to purchase my watches for me personally before I post a video on YouTube. And also make sure you take a look at the free training from my Amazon FBA program. I'm actually extremely humble and so happy that I've had more than a few of you guys already join, and I've helped you guys side by side in getting your Amazon FBA business started and set up. Again, it's just a great and easy way, especially as a younger person, to make side income and then be able to afford some of these Rolexes eventually. So that's one way that I did it. But again, if you're interested in that, that is the link in the description below. As always, thank you guys for joining me today. I will see you guys in the next video.